Start du mit. Mach die wieder. Okay. Hi, this is Max. And this is Danny. We are Psycho Village, and you're watching Backbeat Experience. Backbeat Experience.
All music is the same. It's just a new set of lyrics and a new backbeat.
So, we're rolling. AndreGraziadei for the Backbeat Experience. Today in a chat with Psycho Village and two members of the band, Danny and Max. Thanks for taking time out to have a chat today.
Thanks for having us.
Well, you're welcome. So, either one of you or both of you, your awareness of music, how old were you when that came about?
About knowing that music exists.
You actually said, well, music, great thing, huh?
I don't know, well, probably my dad introduced me to Guns N' Roses when I was probably 6, 7.
Okay.
So that kind of started it all.
Good start.
Wasn't too bad.
Right.
Getting into Velvet Revolver when I was like 9, so like around those years. And then, just went from there and started exploring the big worlds of music.
So if he introduced you to that kind of music, where at what point was it that you decided to get an instrument, or because you do vocals, you play guitar too?
I do. Well, actually, if you say it like that, I was probably introduced to music early because I started playing guitar at the age of 7. So, but just like first you learn to play the flute,
right,
and then you learn to play something else.
The flute, in elementary school,
flute isn't too cool.
No,
even when you're 6 or 7, right? So, I started playing acoustic guitar when I was 7, and then didn't really practice for a couple of years because you have better stuff to do, like playing Lego.
Right.
When you're like 8. And then started playing electric guitar and getting more into actually playing music when I was like 10, 11. What about you?
Yeah, I basically got started on music when I was like 12, 13, listening to Green Day, stuff like that.
Okay.
Got very interested in the American Idiot stuff, everything all around, and then checked out the albums before, like Back to Dookie and all that stuff, and really got into that, and this also got me into playing the guitar, into rock music in general, Slash and everything, and somehow I changed that all to the bass because I liked it more.
You're tall, so it looks cooler.
Yeah, as well. Like,
although the bass player is the one that a lot of people don't recognize.
Basically, but I want to change that kind of.
Okay, in which way?
That's why I'm performing pretty much because, I don't like being static on stage. I mean, it's a pretty static instrument. Basically, it's like the rhythm bass, but I like to move around on stage and be really like into the show. And
we're just 3 people, so it's hard to not see someone, right?
Kind of. Difficult to overlook.
Right.
Yeah.
So we tend to perform a lot and jump around a lot. So we're all very active.
Okay, that reminds me of a band I've met a couple of times called The Brew UK. I don't know if you've heard of them.
The Brew, I've heard of.
Well, you might want to check them out. A really good trio. They're out of Brighton in England. Speaking of trios, what would be then your favorite trio band? I was thinking of stuff like Cream, Nirvana, Rush, Police, Triumph, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I mean, think of other trios that are out there.
Jeez. I mean, if you talk about a band that just has every instrument once, personally I love Shinedown. I mean, they're 4-piece, but just guitar, bass, drums, and obviously vocals.
Right.
I mean, they're 4 people, but still. I mean, obviously Nirvana, like that's a no-brainer.
Okay.
And then what other trios? I mean, the Subways are pretty cool.
And Max?
The first one that comes to my mind is first of all Green Day.
Okay.
One of my all-time favorite
I
bands.
forgot them. Yeah.
Yeah. But also the Winery Dogs with Richie Kotzen, Billy Sheehan, Mike Portnoy. I'm really into them because I like that high-produced rock and roll nowadays. It's good. It's a good sign for rock and roll being still alive.
Yeah, Mike has got his hands in different things, but I spoke to him about 10, 12 years ago.
Oh, cool.
Here in Stuttgart, and interesting guy. Certainly.
Yeah, on stage, like his show is like unique. So he by himself, but then he has Billy Sheehan and Richie Kotzen, who are also amazing.
Amazing musicians.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them live. Have you had the chance?
I've seen them in Nuremberg a few years ago, like on their first world tour with the first album. I don't remember the name now, but it was a Rockfabrik in Nuremberg. It's a great venue. It's a great show.
I met Billy Sheehan like 9 years ago or something. Like at a a showcase kind of thing, and he was like, yeah, if anyone wants interviews, like go wherever he pointed us to go to, and I basically ran there. I was like the only one. I was like, I'm definitely in the wrong spot. And someone taps me on the back, and it's Billy Sheehan. He's like, do you want me to sign something? I was like, am I right here? Like, yeah, I'm here, so yeah, I guess so. And like the only thing I had with me that he could potentially sign was a how do you call this? Like the box where you put your pens in when you're in school. Do you know what I mean?
Pencil
right?
case.
Oh right, pencil case. Right. So he signed my pencil case from school.
Okay.
I still have that. Billy Sheehan.
I would imagine you do. But getting back to your instruments, do you still own the first instrument you ever did?
No, I sold it. I sold it 2 years ago.
Do you regret it?
No.
No? You were tired of it?
No, it was a good guitar, but I just
Okay.
I hadn't played it in like 6 years.
So you didn't miss it?
So yeah, I'm trying to get rid of all the gear that I don't play because I think instruments should be played if you have them.
Okay.
So I try to sell everything that I haven't played in like more than a year or two. So I cut down probably. I had probably 25, 30-ish guitars, and I'm down to like 10 maybe now.
All right.
So
not quite Eric Clapton amount, but that's okay.
No, but it's still quite a lot. And then if you have those guitars and you haven't played in like 3-4 years, it's like what's the point?
Well, that's the old adage. If you own something and you haven't touched it in 2 years, then get rid of it.
I mean, I still have my favorite guitars that I sometimes also haven't played in 2 years, but I would never sell it because it just has a personality.
Once in a while, take it out and take a look.
Right. But yeah, I try to limit myself to 7 or 8 guitars.
Okay, well, that's a human amount, Max.
Well, I still got my first one because it's worth about like 50 euros, so it's not really like the mental value it has is exceeding the financial, like the
sentimental value,
the selling value. So I still got it, the guitar, and I mean it's pretty shitty, but sometimes I play to remember back the times when I was starting.
I think I still have the flute.
How I get back to the flute?
I built one.
Oh, you made one?
Yeah, my dad signed us up to like a course where you
carving class.
I don't know. Well, we drill your own flute. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Well, it was specifically for building a flute. We did that. I don't know. It's probably very bad, but I don't think either I've lost it or it's in a cupboard.
I don't think there is such a thing as a bad flute. Maybe a bad player.
I don't know too much about flutes, so
maybe just
you tell me. I don't know.
Maybe it's just a player. I don't know.
Definitely, it was 8 years.
Certainly
7 years.
Yeah. So when bands start out, they're always being compared to someone else. What's your viewpoint on something like that? You're being compared to someone else.
Well, I can tell you who I would compare ourselves to.
Okay.
Or what the influences were.
Right.
But when you talk about other people and magazines and that sort of thing comparing us, like I've heard everything. Like, tell me music genre, that's our inspiration. At least someone else says that.
Okay.
And it's always very wrong. So, but yeah, I mean the main influences growing up and obviously developing the sound that we have now and that thing. Definitely bands like Shinedown, Nothing More, who we've toured with, definitely been a big influence. Alter Bridge, Blackstone Cherry, those kind of like very modern rock bands, but still a lot of like the Back to the Roots influences, if you will. So like modern produced stuff, but still like actual music. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I met up with Ben from Blackstone Cherry last week when they opened for
Alice Cooper, right?
My ears are still ringing.
Yeah, they're such a good live band.
Oh, they are. There's amazing. I saw them first in 2008 when
Yeah.
they played in Stuttgart, and from the first note on the stage, wow, it was like a sonic attack.
Yeah. No, to me, like, they're hands down like top 5 live bands I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
They, Shinedown, Three Days Down, and I don't know. I'd have to think about the others, but Blackstone Cherry are. I saw them like one of the first times I've seen them, and I've seen them like 7 times or something. Was at the Nova Rock Festival, and I don't think a lot of people knew them back then, but they had such a stage presence.
Mm-hmm.
They're incredible.
But that's how you do it, eh? You got to play in front of people for them to know that you're there.
Right.
I mean, especially the radio landscape today, and where does your music get played? That's the big question.
Yeah.
So concerts are like the main thing for bands. 2013, you guys did some concerts and donated the proceeds from that. As a young band that's starting in the business, that's an unusual thing to do. 'Cause
Right.
normally you're trying to scratch your money together, and at this point, early on in the band's inception, you donate the funds.
Right.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Well, how that came about, and obviously that's a couple of years ago now, but
Right.
we did a bunch of charity shows back then. Cause kind of we, just by knowing people, and we kind of got asked to do it. So I believe we did one show that's probably a year later than 2013. For it's called the Valuka Project,
Mm-hmm.
which raised money to buy books and school supplies for a school in Africa. That was from one of my college teachers, so like he was involved there, and then we did something else for like cancer research and that kind of stuff. So it kind of like all came together within like a couple of like 3 or 4 months, but it just organically happened. It was planned like that, and if we're able to help somehow, we're happy to do it. All of that was in Vienna too, so it wasn't too much of a hassle. So
Okay.
yeah. But any time.
Socially conscious band. I mean, that's unusual these days. I mean, that's a nice thing to do. And then there's the flip side of being a rock musician. You guys have had some trials and tribulations on the road.
Oh yeah, we did.
I've read a few, and I mean stuff like who was it?
the-
The band that you were opening for? The singer spat on you.
Yeah, well, I'll not tell you the name.
No, it doesn't sound.
But I'll tell you after the interview.
Right.
You can Google it because we talked with them earlier this year. But that was a mess. Like we kind of like we had double duty on that because we were their crew and we're also opening for them as a band. Kind of like package tour, 4 or 5 bands. So Max and I were driving, and I was tour managing too, and so a lot of responsibility. And yeah, she's just a mess, man. She's like, she would shout at people in front of Border Patrol while trying to cross over to the UK because someone in the crew forgot their like the permission to work permission.
Work permit.
Right. And they couldn't find it, and people started freaking out and shouting and then spitting into other people's faces, and it was really, really bad. We stopped the tour. We left a band that I don't want to name without a bus or a backline in Wales, and left.
Wonderful.
It was our bus and our backline, so it's all good.
And then on a road somewhere, your bus burns down.
Right. No, it didn't burn down.
Well, it didn't burn down. It
burning.
Caught fire.
It caught fire. I was.
You were driving, right?
I was
your fault.
driving. The funny thing was I was sleeping.
Oh.
And like our drummer, he was pretty new at that time in the band, and he asked me like, "Is it normal that it smokes a bit?" And I thought he meant the smoke from the exhaust. And this is normal when you start it in winter.
Right.
It's. I was like, yeah, that's normal. And he was like, yeah, but it's coming from the inside. And I was like, huh, what? And I saw like we opened the how's it called?
The door.
Yeah, this Handschufa. We opened it, there was a small flame, and I took my blanket and oh my god.
Oh, in the engine compartment. So it came through the glove compartment.
No, it was the electrics.
Okay.
The electrics.
cable fire.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had that with a couple of bus breakdowns. We had a big car accident during our tour with Puddle of Mud. We had our bus and a trailer and a car while trying to overtake us, crashed in between the bus and the trailer, which led to like the car kind of going sideways and the trailer flipped over on the highway in Germany.
Wonderful.
The roof cracked open, the entire back line spread over 4 lines on the highway. I found my guitars about like 200 meters away from where we then parked, and the entire highway was blocked for like an hour. We still made the show.
Wow.
No one got hurt.
But instruments were fine?
Instruments were fine.
Amazingly enough.
Amps were fine.
Okay.
I was with Framers back then, or I still am.
Mm-hmm.
But I also play PRS right now. But back then I was exclusively playing Framers, and both guitars were lying like on the highway lines in between cars that stopped, and nothing happened. So if you ever need a guitar that you can't crack, hands down, Framers Warwick.
Okay.
Big shout out. I believe I didn't even have to tune it. Like, it
Wow.
sounds like a joke, but I'm actually serious.
My goodness.
The only thing that actually broke was the, how do you call it, toggle switch?
Toggle switch.
Right, like the thing.
Uh-huh.
It just,
Wow.
it broke in half.
Okay,
But it still
well,
worked.
That's a good ad for that guitar company.
Right,
I'd have to say.
fix that.
So,
How dare you?
how is the Austrian rock scene differ in Austria than from, say, Germany or the rest of Europe?
Well, actually, I think it's really different from country to country. I mean, obviously, if you go to the UK, obviously they have all the rock history, and
Right.
that stuff, and you feel it. I mean, the clubs look dirty, but you still kind of feel the energy. I mean, as shitty as the clubs look, I mean that's what you want, right? You want to be part of that history and have played there. Then, I mean, Germany, everyone's very, very, very welcoming. Most clubs are very nice. I'd say people are a bit more into the music in the UK, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Germans are more... How do I say that? They try to appreciate the whole thing. They're not like actively part of the show. They're observers.
Yeah, they observe until the last note, and then they applaud.
Yeah, but that's all right. I mean, they appreciate it, right?
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
No.
It's just they watch the show and they appreciate it. Or British people are part of the show. That's kind of the difference. And for example, I don't know. It's also, for example, in the Netherlands, they're also a bit more into the show. Austrians are also very reserved. If you talk about the scene or the band scene, I mean, obviously the main band scene is in Vienna, in Austria, but it's more metalcore and more like the harder side of music.
Really?
Yeah. Lots and lots of upcoming bands from that genre, and then like the whole the flip side, the whole like indie and like indie Brit pop kind of thing. So that's like the two things where we have a lot of bands in the bigger scene in Vienna. Normal like classic rock or any modern kind of rock that we do and stuff like that, not so much. I can't say too much about the other cities because we've been there as a touring band, not as a local.
Well, that'll do it. As far as your style is concerned, have you defined it, or is it still developing?
It's always developing. If you talk about obviously the new album Unstoppable, that's the sound that I have imagined from the beginning, like the different elements that I wanted to do, and like the heavy parts being really heavy, the softer and melodic parts being really melodic. That was kind of like the idea going into it. But then obviously you actually have to do it. It's easy said, but you want to have heavy riffs and melodic and catchy choruses. But then all right, do it. I think we've accomplished that. I always try to find new music and new sounds and get that into songwriting and use new elements that we haven't used at this point. So if you, for example, the title track Unstoppable use a lot of like synth stuff in the beginning. That's something we haven't done to this point. So in the upcoming songwriting, which hasn't started yet because the album hasn't been released actually.
Right.
Yeah. But we'll definitely experiment with new sounds like that. Not saying it's going to be electronic stuff, but just stuff that's not typical in that genre that I'm trying to bring into. As long as it sounds cool. But,
Yeah. Well, would that be influence of the producer?
No.
No. So it's directly from you guys.
That's coming from us.
Okay. Cool. We'd look forward to like an additional instrument or something. You mentioned keyboards. Maybe add something else.
I mean, it's always just bits and pieces, like
Right.
little interludes and stuff. So it wouldn't be a new instrument as part of the lineup, but it will use that sound as
Use it a
kind of
hook
like
somewhere in the
right,
song.
Right.
That's the way it goes.
Like-
I think of the Who or something who would throw some hooks in there somewhere here and there. The first album released in 2014, Selfmade Fairytale. What took 5 years to release the second one?
Touring. We released Fairytale in 2014, as you said. Had quite a bit of chart success in Austria and toured in Austria for a bit until mid 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Then started touring in Germany mainly for another like we did 2 tours or two or 3 tours and weekenders so over the next year. And then we're close to 2017 and that was right when we started getting offers on like international touring packages, which we started in 2017 and then new band lineup formed. Max came into the band and so we started supporting bigger bands, touring not only in Germany and Austria, but all over Europe, all over the UK, which took another 1.5 years, which we wanted, and obviously we continued writing songs, and now we luckily had this gap where we were finally able to release the album.
Okay, so this is the new album, Psycho. What is it? Unstoppable. So Unstoppable would be in reference to being musicians.
All those touring stories that you've brought up.
Okay.
Buses on fire, accidents,
Trials and tribulations, and you
people
just keep
spitting on
going.
us.
Yeah.
Right. Now I always say that during the show I hint few of those stories and basically with the line this being said, we are unstoppable, because most bands that I know after experience not only all of those stories but like just even 2 would probably quit and be like in any job, right?
Right.
It doesn't have to be a musician. If you in any job being treated like that as a human being and stuff happens, you're like, all right, fuck that, I'm done. But we continue doing it, and we're playing bigger tours than we've had up until this point. The album comes out, so we felt it's a good fit.
Perseverance. There's one video I was watching online from the song Half-Cased Symphony.
Right.
First of all, the title.
Yeah.
Symphony is okay, but what's half-cased?
Half-cast. Half-cast is...
Well, half-cast.
It's half-cast.
Okay, there's an E in there that doesn't belong if you're saying half-cast.
No, well, that's the writing. It's like from Old English and basically means
okay.
It's a similar term to being half-blood.
Right.
Like from different heritages.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So the entire song is basically an anti-bullying, anti-suppression kind of theme.
Okay.
And for example, live we use a video. We have 2 video walls live, so we have a lot of visuals during the show, and during the live show we use the video by a girl called Amanda Todd. If you're from Canada, right?
Yeah, Canada. Yeah.
So you might know her because she's from there. So she committed suicide by the age of 15.
Oh yeah, she was bullied online.
Right, after being bullied for 2 years online.
Right.
And she put a video online with note cards telling her story leading up to her suicide. And we used that video live during the song.
Do you have the rights to do that?
Well, she posted it online. A lot of different outlets use it, and there's actually a foundation called the Amanda Todd Foundation that use that. So they're happy for everyone that brings awareness, and we've tried to be part of that and bring awareness to that because it's a topic very dear to our hearts. And yeah, there are quite some people that they're like, they say it's distracting, but every show we have at least like 5 people coming up to us and saying like, thank you for telling something that we don't have the strength or the ability to say because we're too afraid or whatever. And that's basically what we try to do there, and that's exactly the topic that Half-Cast Symphony talks about.
So in the video, you're the one that gets beat up.
Right. That was an idea, and that's actually the one who beats me up is my best friend. Vali. We met at the age of 2.
Okay.
So we've known each other for our whole lives.
Okay.
And yeah, there was just a funny idea that we tossed around for quite some time at that point, and we were like, all right, we want to do a new video. Why don't we do that? We didn't have a big budget, so, and also I'm doing all the videos.
Okay.
So we're like, all right, let's do a kind of like Quentin Tarantino style trasher kind of movie with that topic. And the whole plot, it's a dream. If you watch it till the end, you see me waking up. So it's basically a nightmare.
Yeah, you wake up in a van.
Yeah, that's our bus.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
our tour bus.
Okay.
That RV camper van, and actually that story is part or will be part of a bigger video series grouped around all the songs of the album. So it's right in the middle of the story, and if you watch all the videos, which yet have to be released,
Okay.
You'll fully understand what's that all about.
So that's your own grindhouse production.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Now there's something I do call word association. Well, basically, what would be the first thing that would spring to mind if I say a certain word? So I'll go for each one of these. USA.
Shall I start?
Start.
All right. Well, as every country, the US has big problems. I'm not going to deny that.
Which one doesn't?
Which one doesn't? I mean, smaller countries don't have that much for the
Okay.
demographics
Right.
and just how big the country is. The USA, I mean, a lot of opportunities. We also have a record deal in the US and going to release this album in the States early next year.
Okay.
And we have a big tour coming up that will be announced, but it's probably the biggest one we've done, even bigger than in Europe, and it's going to be the first tour that we'll do in the US.
Okay.
So that's very exciting for us. And obviously, if you look at music, most bands that we grew up listening to and still listen to this day are from the States.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big cultural mixture with all ups and downs. But yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be here without listening back to bands from the US. So
True. Max?
What he said.
Okay. We'll back up what he said. So, being in the States, of course, then the word comes to mind, travel. Travel.
Well, I've been to the US once at this point. I'll be back in a couple of months. It's very big there, so
The USA is a big place.
If you tour there, you probably need a bus.
Yeah.
Need a big bus.
So, what would come to mind? Travel?
Travel? US or in general?
In general, what's the first thing that comes to mind if I say travel?
Well, we travel a lot, obviously,
Yeah.
since we're in a band and visiting
Working.
all those places. So
Working, freedom.
Okay.
Like, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Being in different places, working on stage and having fun and everything. It's just a good thing to be in different places. I like that. I
Mhm.
can't stay at one place.
I think traveling is important. It's important to not just know, if you will, your own backyard, but actually know what's out there
See the
and
world.
how different cultures work. How different, even every city is different. Berlin is drastically different to Vienna.
Mhm.
It's drastically different to London or Amsterdam, and it's important to know how those, like, just how people are there, how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Just to know, like, there's more than just where you from, and it's good because you'll develop and you become like a hopefully a more intelligent person
Hopefully.
by experiencing more.
That's the bottom line of what you're trying to do. Success.
Soon.
Always depends on what you're measuring. If you're measuring it in album sales, obviously it's different than if you measure it in. It's always success is very. I wouldn't say success is very individual. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Success is something else for me than it is
Mhm.
for you or for him.
That's
So-
what I'm trying to get at. What's the success mean
so
to you?
success for us is we don't care about sales too much
Okay.
as long as people show up to the shows and we can keep doing what we like to do, which is playing shows, being on tour,
Mhm.
hopefully playing bigger shows. Then that's success for us. But if our album peaks at 1 or doesn't even chart at all, that doesn't matter too much. Most outlets always nail it down to being if you're top 10, you're a successful band. Yeah, that's true. But you can also be a very successful band and not even charting anywhere.
Well, I can. There's one person I know of who I've met several times over the past few years is Ray Wilson, and he tours constantly. And he says, I don't have to play 10,000 seat arenas. He says, I just play my concerts, and that's my job. I tour, I play, people come. Doesn't have to be big, but just constant. That's his job.
I think, especially in the entertainment industry, a lot of people confuse being successful with being famous, which is very different. You can be very successful and no one will recognize you in the street, and you can be very famous while not having any talent whatsoever.
Reality TV?
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Success for no reason whatsoever. So, food?
I fucking love food.
Pizza.
I eat way too much.
Really? Okay. I don't
try
know.
not to. I try to limit myself while being not all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Pizza.
I tend to answer in one word.
That's fine.
That's okay.
Pizza, sushi.
And last but not least, what's behind me? LPs.
Well, that's where it started, right? I'd like to have an album at one point on vinyl.
Okay.
We don't have it yet. It's up to the label. Maybe they'll do it. I'd like to have it just to have it, right? Which I think is what most people buy vinyl for.
The experience.
Well, right.
The experience.
To actually have it in your hands and to,
That whole thing of back then, it was saving up your money, going to the store, going through the bins, picking out an album, looking at it front and back, taking it home, paying for it, taking it home, and that experience, taking it out and reading everything and turning the album and flipping it over. That is just completely lost, but people are starting to get back to that, and that's something I can appreciate. Well, Danny, Max, thanks for a very interesting chat.
Thank you for coming here and your time.
Most welcome.
Hope to talk to you again at some point.
I would certainly hope so.